Good evening, fellow Plexers. Today's video is going to be even colder than most of the ones I do. I really haven't done any setup besides putting this into a word processing document. So this comes with a problem in Plexaholics by John. He posted, anyone have issues with season 5 or 6 of LEGO Masters? Season 5 with a Christmas special, and the current season is season 5. I cannot get Plex to recognize the latest season at all, even after making a new folder for the special episodes. So then from one of his screenshots, I just copied LEGO Masters 2020, and the issues are with season 5. And let's bring the thread in. So I was out most of the day, and while I was out, I just said to him, it's probably an issue with the metadata listed at either TMDB or TVDB, because lots of times, well, enough times, it's different enough where certain seasons won't scan into Plex because a season listed at TVDB might be a new show at TMDB. So let's look at what he's got going on here. This is the screenshot I just kind of wrote some things down from. He says he tried making folders for the special, but neither are showing when Plex scans. On the season 5 on LEGO Masters, I have put the 3 new episodes, but it still shows the 4 special episodes, even though not in the folder. And this is how he's named 3 new episodes in season 5. So these are all release names. They're not Plex compliant in the first place. And we'll get to that. We'll check the naming guide for TV shows. You can never replace a natural space with a period. And Plex has a special separator that goes between the proper show name, the season episode coding, and then the proper episode name, and that's a space dash space or a plain period. But there's not even a episode name here. This REAL is a release group, just like this. Well, this Rebuild the Galaxy looks like a episode name. So none of this is compliant to start with. So let's just start from fresh. I'll dummy up some files, and we'll check how it's listed at both databases, and we'll add a mock-up of this to one of my test Plex servers. So let's start with Google Chrome. And let's get some tabs open. And this first one, Plex TV show naming. Whoops. And this one, let's go to TMDB. Let's look for LEGO Masters. Okay, under the TV, looks like we got some options here. So it looks like this same show has been syndicated for different countries. So we'll assume John is talking about this one that looks like the US version. All right, let's go to TVDB. Okay, so because he's got US in his scene release file names, we definitely know it's the 2020 version of the show. So we've got the right show in both databases. But let's go to the support article. So the basics, you separate out your different types of Plex media, movies from music, from TV shows, and also other video libraries and photos. If we drop down, we see that Plex mentions TMDB or TVDB, and if we drop down further, this paragraph tells us that the only 2 valid source IDs for episodes are either TMDB, the movie database, or TVDB, the TV database. And let's see what else we can see that we need to see. So by default, episode ordering comes from the movie database, but at a show level, you can set it to the other options: TVDB aired, TVDB DVD order if there isn't a DVD ordering listing, or TVDB absolute, again, if there is an absolute order listing, or the TVDB. But when you first create a Plex TV show library, if you don't change the advanced settings of that library, episode ordering comes from the movie database. And that is always an aired ordered listing. All right, if we keep dropping down, the only other important thing to know is when you have multiple episodes in one file, it's this format: SO2E episode number dash episode numbers. So this is the start episode and this is the ending episode. So if you have two episodes in one file, E18-E19 makes sense. But if there were three, it would be E18-E20. You don't list each episode separately. And what else do we have to know? If you have one episode that's split across two files, this section tells you how to get it set up, and Plex gives us an example right here. This Grey's Anatomy episode 1 of season 1 is part 1 and part 2. And as I mentioned, there's no period to replace a natural space. And you see the official separator of a space dash space in these two places. That separates parts of the file name. Now, you can replace this with a period, but that doesn't mean you can replace natural spaces with a period. And you can't replace a natural space with an underscore, no matter who told you and how you might think they're a Linux expert. Okay, so Plex gives the example, and also someplace up above says you should always include the year, even if you're naming from TVDB that very rarely has the year in it. So TMDB always has the year listed. So it's pretty simple. In its own library folder, the show has to have a folder name, and you pull that directly from TMDB or TVDB and add the year manually. If you want to go extra, you can add the source ID to the folder name. Where are we here? I get lost. I should know these like the back of my hand, but I still get lost. Okay, so show name, space, year in parentheses, space, in curly braces, either TMDB or TVDB dash the database number. Let's see if Plex gives an example of that. They do with the Office US. So that would be in the folder, season 01, and it's always season 01, not season 1, not season no space 1. It's season space 01. So then whatever you have here should be repeated here without the database number. Then the official separator, the season episode coding, and the S and E can be capitalized or lowercase. The official separator. And then you can list the official episode name, but Plex does not use it for scanning purposes, but it's handy to have in there so you know what you're looking at down the road. All right, so let's go to Lego Masters at TMDB. And then remember, a default TV show library pulls episode ordering from TMDB and not TVDB. So you should name from TMDB if you're not going to change that advanced option. I suggest always naming from TVDB and setting every new library up to pull episode ordering from TVDB. All right, so we do have season 5 here. Let's click into it. Rebuild the Galaxy, Wedding Cakes, Over the Falls. Now, unfortunately, John doesn't have an episode name in here besides the first episode. But I think the problem is going to be the naming structure mostly. All right, let's go to the season list. All right, so 2024 has something called Celebrity Holiday Spectacular with 4 episodes. All from December 2024. And again, I'm doing all this cold. May 25, season 4, ending in December 23. So end of 2023, beginning of 2025, and a Christmas season. Again, I just can't see any point of using TMDB because shit like this happens. Let's look and see how it's handled over at TVDB. Let's go into seasons. All right, so let's go into the specials first of all. Sneak peek Jurassic World. So that's not a Christmas special. All right, so we're looking for some episodes in December 2024. So it looks like TVDB adds that goofy unlabeled season, at least unlabeled with a number, to season 4. So if we go into it, Celebrity Holiday Spectacular. All right, Home Alone, Reindeer, Winter Break, New Holiday. So I'm not even going to try to make this mock-up that I'm going to create fit TMDB. I'm just going to show you how to adjust a TV show library to pull episode ordering only for this show from TVDB, so you don't have to worry about metadata getting screwed up with a library already set up for TMDB. And then we'll also show adding it to a library that's already set for TVDB. So anyway, the naming is going to be based on TVDB. So let's get prepping here. Let me open up a file manager. And one of my test server runs on my newer Synology NAS, where I keep my media but not my normal Plex server. I have a new SSD volume for my Docker containers and my Synology packages. And I've also got a test server running there with some test media running there. All right, let me go back to, let's do as much as we can for season 4. All right, so there's 19 episodes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's do 10 dummy files. And we'll start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'll have to start with SO4E10. Okay, so I just copied that. Well, I shouldn't have copied that, but I'll put it in my scratch pad. Okay, so I've got 10 dummy files. Let's copy them. Let's create a show folder named this. And we know it's from 2020. So this is something you got to do manually. The year isn't part of the proper show name at TVDB. All right, so let's cut all these. Let's create a season 4 folder. Paste these babies in here. And what do I need to do? There's no quick way to do this. We're going to work backwards from this episode. So because I'm making a video, I'm trying to think ahead and it's slowing me down. Not cool to admit that you get slowed down when you think, but I do. Okay, so those are basic names. So now I can turn this over to FileBot to rename things quickly. Open with other applications, FileBot, and I'm using my own custom expressions that are in my latest FileBot video, except I'm now adding the TVDB source ID to the folder name for TV shows. All right, what's going on here? Red is danger, Will Robinson, danger. So it's accepting 10 through 14th, but it's not accepting the higher number episodes. Let's go back to the TVDB entry. Try to figure out why that is. "12 through 19. We've got 15 through 19 that aren't being accepted. Oh, well, we got Lego Masters 2019 and not 2020. So let's go back to the show, see if it's my fault. All right, first aired February 20. All right, let's ditch FileBot. Let's do TVDB again. Is there a 2019? Yes, there is. Australia, and then another 2020 from France, UK from 2017. Okay, so we're going to need a little bit of help with this. So I'm going to copy the database number, go back in and manually edit that into my folder. It's not often that FileBot needs help. Let's see if this works better. Right, again with my custom expression. All right, no red lines. All right, Lego Masters 2020, Season 4, Episode 19 as the highest number in Season 10. And it's not changing the source ID. We've already got it in. Let's validate those. So this part removes any illegal characters. Let me refresh that. And this will add correctly. Now, what I normally would have prepped for is to have had this just like John has it. Let's just paste this in here. And let's copy his structure for at least 3 files. So let's go to another screenshot. Just Lego Masters 2020. So that's not proper formatting, but we'll copy it anyway. So let's see, does he have a season folder. Can't see over here, but I'm guessing he doesn't have a season folder. So let's pick just 4 files. Paste them here. We can get rid of the rest. And where's our example, how to name them? Okay, so we only need 3. Let's highlight all of them, right click and rename. So are you bored watching me get everything set up in real time instead of having it prepped? I'm a little bored. All right, let's get rid of the space dash space. Okay, so we've got Lego, period, masters, period, US, dot. Okay. Now let's do the rest by hand. One dot real dot 720 p dot HEVC dot x 265, and I can't see the rest of it. Doesn't matter. Excuse me, doesn't matter if it's 40p for the rest or 2x265. We're just going to use this for the rest. Okay, John's formatting. Let's bring this alongside our other properly prepped one. And these are all dummy files. They're not real episode files.
Good evening, fellow.
Just dummy files for me to be able to work and not worry about actually having files to do anything with. So next, let's bring the Plex server in. Got 2 people streaming. And we're going to change to this SSD-based Plex server on my Synology NAS. And oh, by the way, there's an update. Okay, so let's go down and see what test libraries I have set up. All right, so I am going to create 2 different libraries. So let's go to my library folders. Let's create some new structure. Did I do that already, or did I do TMDB? Okay. So now, because I'm always Linux based, I'm following the general Dockerholics rule. Dockerholics is a Facebook group run by Matthew Peterson, and he, along with some others, tell us under Linux to forget about uppercase letters and spaces for a lot of our folder structures. But when you get to the actual show name, of course, return to uppercase letters and spaces for the show folder, season folder, and episode names. So my structure above that level is like this. Okay, so we're going to point a library at this structure and have it pull episode ordering from TMDB, and then a library at this to have episode ordering pulled from TVDB, and it will be aired in both cases. So let's add 2 new libraries. Let's browse. It's on this shared folder. It's in that sort library, and it's this one right here. Add. And now, again, I always suggest changing the default episode ordering away from the movie database to the TVDB. But in this case, we want it at the movie database. All right, another library. Let's browse to the same share, the same sort folder for different TV show libraries and that test structure. Now we go in and change the advanced ordering to TVDB. Okay, so I named them a little funky. TMDB test TVDB. The part of my brain that's OCD doesn't like that mistake. So, what did I do here? We keep the brain happy. Always keep your brain happy. Okay, so we have structure now. So let's do the TMDB first with John's folder structure. Oh, so I can't remove a show from a library if it's the only show in the library. So let's do this first. Let's see, which of these is the quickest? This one. Let me copy this into each library. Wings. I was working on my music library. I've been running all, let's see, close to 200,000 songs through Music Brains Picard to get perfect metadata on everything that has metadata, embedded metadata. I've been working on this for a month, and I'm getting close to the end of that tunnel. All right, so we have 30-some seconds left. And let's check to see if this library is set up to scan automatically. It is. So you should see the little activity window start working once each of these shows is copied into each individual library. And we're looking here for activity. All right, so that was pretty quick. We go back to each of these libraries. Now, it doesn't show anything because it's the first show, but if I click the library tab, I got zilch. All right, there it is. So things are funky when it's the first series added to an empty library. Even though it scanned automatically, it took another scan. So this show added to each library. So we know that we've got the library pointed to the correct structure. All right, so we want to be the TMDB test library. Let's now check out John's structure to both. Let me copy that. And I went the wrong way. That's where we want to be. We'll paste it into both folders. Okay, the TMDB test one, let's see what we have. 3 shows. Okay, so Brick Lake Metropolis and volcanic brick eruptions. Let's see if that's a match. All right, for season 4, that is not a match. And unfortunately, TMDB doesn't have a way for me to globally search things, but let's go to the season 3. Nope. Back to season list. Let's look at season 5. Now, so I don't know where it's pulling these episode names from. Let's edit this. So I do have it named after season 4, episode 1. So I'm not going to investigate where Plex is getting the wrong information from, because as I suspected, it was not going to scan in properly that way. Let's back up to the TVDB library. And it came in the same way. So it's not just a difference between the two database listings. This is most likely because of those scene release names, file names, and also the folder not being perfectly compliant either. So we'll leave these in the library. Let's go back and copy in this structure. All tiny files because they're all mock-ups. Let's go back. Whoops. Let's go back to the TMDB folder library. Now, I left the other show in. So let's see what we have now. Now I've got 13 episodes. So these are the first 3 that we had that didn't match up with the proper episode names. Now let's see if the rest of the episodes from the other folder matched up. I guess that's as good as any. We can scroll. So episode 10 should be Bricks and All from the TMDB listing. All right, so season 4. Oh, hold on. This was a match. I was in the wrong place. The first 3 episodes did match up with a poor file naming. Let's see if episode 11 did. Episode 10, Bricks and All, Forever Finale, 12, 13. Okay, we matched up to that point, but these extra episodes aren't matching up because they're actually listed as this goofy season over here. And I think I'm going to try and experiment with this to see if I can get this to work. But let's go back to our other library that's pulling episode ordering from TMDB. Pulling episode ordering from TVDB. All right, let's go into this. Season 4. So these first 3 are correct. I don't know what I was thinking earlier. So episode 10, fine. Episode 11, fine. 12 and 12 is fine. 13 has got the right episode name, but there's no metadata for the poster. You see how we've got metadata here with this picture symbol and none here. So episode 14 has metadata for the scene or for the poster, and we've got the right metadata. Let's click into it. We've got the episode description. And then season 15 has no poster for it. 16, 17, 18, and 19 all have the poster. So with real files, it would take an image from the video and substitute it, just like it's done here. This Plex just is an image from the file.
Good evening.
Okay, so that's really a solve. You just pull episode ordering from TVDB, but it's not a true solve because you'd have to change your library defaults like I did here. Let's make the fix in the other library because most people like John, or probably like John, will have episode ordering globally set to TMDB. And again, to change that midstream may screw up metadata that you worked hard to get correct. So we don't want to change it at the global level. What we want to do is we want to make sure we're at the show level, edit at the show level, go to advanced, and change episode ordering away from library default into TVDB eared. Save the changes, let it do its thing. When you don't see it scanning, go to more, refresh metadata. When that's done, pop into your season and see how these episodes now have the proper match. And again, because there's no metadata for the poster artwork for these two episodes, you're going to see a scene from the video itself. So when it's the right video, it will look the same as everything else. You won't notice any problems. So that's how you pull episode ordering for a show level to TVDB. Now I want to try something else. Let me change this back to TVDB at the show level. I'm sorry, that's global. At the show level. And I'm in season 4, not the show level. Now I'm in the right spot. Let's change it back to TVDB. Let's refresh metadata. And we've just undone what we worked to do. So no episode names for these extra ones because they're not listed at TMDB for that season. Okay, so let's get rid of everything in that test library, except for the one series we need to keep in there. Oh, and even this structure wasn't right, but it knew what it needed to know. All right, let's go here at this level. Let's stick that back in here. So while I don't really like this naming, it did work once the metadata was pointed the right way, or the right area. Let's see, what am I going to do here? I am going to see if this will work. Probably won't, but let's just check anyway. Okay, so season 4, we don't want any of this. Let's put this into season 4. All right, so we've got 4 episodes there, 13 episodes here. What do we have? 10. Let's cut those and paste them in here. And so we have 1 through 13. So let's oh, I don't want that. Let's rename this one '09. And let's rename this 108. Let's run this through FileBot just from the season level. And this time let me use my expression that names to TMDB, but I don't want structure. All right, so I don't have an expression for that, so let me do a basic match episode more to the movie database. Hover my mouse over. First aired 2020, so we have the right show. Same poster, so I'm good. All right, so these are just more simplified names. Rename. Validate. All right, so I like that. That's good. So now, let's cut those and put them into this goofy folder name. All right, so we need 4 episodes. Then I'm going to use FileBot as the canary in the coal mine, so to speak. Because FileBot and Plex pull metadata from the same places for a TV show, if I can rename these to a better enhanced file name with FileBot, this might just work in Plex. Okay. Let's try this again with FileBot. I'll do the same basic naming and not use my expression. No, it's not going to work, and it may not work at all because I just thought there's no season number for this, so this is bogus. All right, so I've just wasted time here. I had to explore this thought in real time. I can't make this special season work at Plex because I don't have a season episode coding to match up to this. They're not specials. So this is a really goofy entry, and it's probably the first entry I've seen at TMDB that makes this entry unusable for Plex. These should have been in a special season folder, and as John mentioned, that's why it wasn't working for him. All right, so I can continue that thought process. Let's just see what happens. Let's leave no Plex stone unturned. Okay, SO4 replaced with SOO. Oh, that, no. Typo on my part. SOO. And we'll rename this Season 00. Now, normally it could be special instead of Season 00. Either way is normally fine. Okay, so let's go back to our server. And let's do the Plex dance just to wash the palette. So we will scan again, just for the heck of it. We will manage library and empty the trash. And we'll go to the settings, and while we're still on the correct server, we'll go to troubleshooting and clean bundles, and it happened quickly because it's a tiny test Plex server. All right, so now metadata is pointed at TMDB. Let's cut that and put it into this folder structure and see what the heck happens. There it is scanning. Let's wait for it to scan. Okay. Let's go into it. So I remember these first 3 episodes' names, so it looks like that's all scanning in properly. Let's go to the specials. And Dream Park, Theme Park, Space Smash, Cut in Half. I don't know where those are coming from. Let's just remember Dream Park. Oh, there's actually specials listed at TMDB where there aren't at TVDB besides that one. I should have checked that. So yeah, there's no way to use this entry. You've got to have the library set up for TVDB or just the show pointed to TVDB for aired episode ordering. This is a weird one. This is really an interesting issue. And I'm kind of glad I didn't check into this first and then film a response. I'm kind of glad I walked through it slowly with all of you. This is, as Harry would say from Resident Alien, some kind of bullshit. Okay, John, that's what I have for you. I know it's kind of a long video, but this is sometimes how I do things. I don't explore too much. I just jump in, and in this video, I didn't explore hardly anything. I just jumped in. So, happy plexing, and I'll catch you next time.